Welcome back everybody, thanks for all the kind words from the Enduro last week. Now I know a few of you want me to go back on my trials bike, and I really want to as well. It just so happens that I've been going to a lot of mountain bike events recently. It's just how things have worked out. I love anything that's got two wheels, especially mountain biking, and there's been a few events I just couldn't turn down. So that has led me here. I am in Malvern's somewhere down south. I'm not in Scotland, I'm in England. We're at the GT Malverns Classic, which is the biggest mountain bike festival in the UK this year. It's been a 20-year break since the last time this event was on. So that means that the last time this event was on, I'd only just started riding. When I was younger, I had some old hand-me-down MBUK magazines, and they featured some of the Malvern Classics racing. And it's really cool to finally be here because I never had the chance. I always wanted to, it looked really cool in the magazines, but now I'm here and it's awesome. I want to go and show you guys around this event, maybe show some racing if I can, show some of the interesting people and stalls, and then if I can, some of the riding that I'm going to do as well, some of these little competitions. So, shall we do this? Oh, and some of you have been requesting a walk around for this motorhome. Get that zoomed out. I will do one while I'm here, so keep an eye out for that. This thing is incredible, so I'm definitely wanting to show this off. Was a 6.5 hour drive down from Glasgow to this event, so quite the commitment. Shame I arrived just a little bit too late to watch the dual slalom. There's some proper old school names racing that. I think even Hans Ray was racing it, and that would have been a really cool one to watch. There's some old school bikes on display here. They've got a retro competition, so I definitely need to go check those out. Oh, what do we have here? Oh my word, never seen one of these in the person. Check out this suspension system. Pretty much as simple as you can get. Doesn't look like the stiffest thing in the world. It'd be interesting to give it a ride. I've just noticed that's not even a spring. Is that just like loads of rubber just piled on top of each other? Oh, I wonder what the dampening's like on that. Oh, now here we go. Oh, now these were definitely the dream bike when I was younger, and I still definitely have a place in my heart for the old Paces with the square tubes and external butting. Oh, so nice. And of course Pace, they made suspension as well. These were among the best suspension forks you could get back in the day. It's a shame they don't make them anymore, but yeah, that's pretty sweet. I've actually no idea what this bike is. I've never seen it before. It's a bit like the Trek, just a really simple cantilever, single pivot. It's as simple as you can get. Not sure what shock that is. It's looking a little bit more technologically advanced than the last one. It's a carbon front triangle. It must have been one of the first carbon bikes ever. That's pretty sweet. And of course, oh look at that, race lines, gets bonus points for that. Now here's one for your old school guys, Dave Hemming. This is one of his bikes, the old school Klein. Again, I've never seen one of these in person. Actually, so chunky as well. I really like the chainstay yoke, but the main thing for me, these forks, these look good enough for trials riding on. That's nice, and a bit of old school nameage there, Dave Hemming, pretty sweet. Okay guys, anyone recognize these initials? JMC, Jason McCroy. This unfortunately is not his actual bike, this is a replica, but rumours has it his actual bike will be here later, so definitely have to have a look at that. But that is so sweet. Really like that. Nice. Flipping spoilt for choice here. Look at this, old school Proflex. I'm not sure how well these ride this day and age, but that's pretty cool. And again, bonus points, Maguras. Shocks looking a little bit more traditional, a little bit more modern. Yeah, I remember these when I was younger. The Scott and Dauphine, one of my first dream bikes, I reckon. So the first thermoplastic, I'm not sure if that was just old school name for carbon fibre, but supposedly the swing arm had a bit of a give in it, so a bit of a softer ride. Right, yeah. But yeah, pretty sweet, man. And again, Maguras. I think they all have Maguras on the old school bikes. Okay guys, I can't walk past the mountain cycle without filming it. This thing was definitely the dream bike back in the day, totally ahead of its time. First time with like monocoque style tubing. I actually had about, this is going from memory, about 6 inches of travel at the back in the day when I think everything was about 2 inches of travel at the max. Disc brakes with like some of the biggest rotors I've ever seen. Got upside down forks. This thing is still really cool. Now, speaking of old school, here we are at the GT booth. Some of the early RTSs, LTSs. I think somewhere around here, my absolute idol from growing up and still now, Hans Ray. is probably hiding somewhere. No doubt he's getting swamped by people, but I definitely need to get a selfie with him while I'm here. So I might go and stalk him a little bit. Old, new. Old, new. Which do you prefer? Check out this combo. Awesome old school Specialized van, and I'm not sure, but this may actually be Jason McCroy's downhill bike. This thing is sick. It's the first time I've ever seen it in person, and I know it's old school, I know it's dated, but this looks like an absolute riot to ride. Also, check out the size of that chainring. Jeez. And downhilling with a stem that long. Woof, fair play. Okay, so if any of you are old school, you may know this guy, Mr. Jez Avery. Properly old school, he's doing a show. Okay, this is pretty much just going to be a vlog of old school bikes, but these are some particularly good ones. We've got Schwinn's, we've got a Colella, which is a British brand. That's been filled in some details by this, what's your name, sorry?
Jamie.
By Jamie here. Rare bike. I think this is, he was saying, one of the only bikes he knows of, and quite unique. We've got a Lotus mountain bike. I didn't even know they did mountain bike versions unless it's just been modified. And check out this Bianchi, or Bianchi, however you say it, with the flipping old school parallelogram rear end with a full vertical wheel path. Absolutely nuts. Never even seen that before. Speaking of old school, we have Mr. Mark Westlake here as well.
Oh, rude.
Whoa, turn around. Your face looks different.
It is. 2 eyes now, upgraded. Oh yeah.
Cool, well we've got an awesome Foes bike here, and then, check this out. Twin front brake, extra power.
It does.
Ooh. That's pretty wild. I didn't think the stays would be noticeably that flexible. That's awesome.
Even in 1992, disc brakes were a thing.
Whoa.
That is a caliper.
Brembo disc brake.
Is it Brembo, is it? Oh yeah, of course.
I just never seen this Magura from the part of it.
No
They
way.
use Magura lever, because Brembo are a caliper manufacturer,
Yeah.
but they're not a lever manufacturer. So they used it with the Magura.
I didn't even know disc brakes were that old. Check out this Foes. I mentioned that mountain cycle earlier being ahead of its time. I think this was the ultimate ahead of its time. 6-inch travel at the back. That was absolutely unheard of when this came out. Check this thing, it's absolutely nuts. We've got this Pace downhill bike, and I wanted one of these so badly when I was younger. I got into bikes just at the time when this was like the dream bike. This was the best bikes could get, and to be fair, look at it, it's still awesome. It's not your bike, is it?
No, it's one of our channel sponsors, Fenwick's, the guy who owns it, John.
What's your channel?
It is Pins TV.
Pins TV?
Yeah.
Put that down at the bottom
Pin
here
TV.
somewhere.
They made the world's first specific downhill bike in '92, and this is a 2000 model, the last one they did. And this was like, same with you and me, dream bike when we were younger.
They're so cool. Still
Yeah.
now, they're so cool.
Yeah.
Got the Cannondale stand. Now these aren't old school, these are the opposite. This is the newest school we've got in a minute. And you guys may have seen Cannondale have their new lefty, I'm not going to call it a fork, I think they're calling it a knife or something, but check these out. Is that the most crazy looking thing you've ever seen? I don't know what that will look like when you're riding, you're looking down at the handlebars, you're going to see your left hand side of the fork there. Must be pretty weird. Also, one other thing I want to mention on this bike is the neatest seat clamp I've ever seen in my life. I was searching for the bolt, I was like, how on earth do you even do the seat up? But it's hiding underneath. That is slick, I like that. Okay, so a lot of you guys may know I've ridden a steel bike for quite some time, so I do have a bit of a soft spot for steel. Speaking of, we've got Starling Cycles, the man himself.
You alright, Jay from Starling Cycles here.
And he makes all these bikes. I'm hoping a lot of you guys have seen Starling Cycles before, but he makes some of the sexiest steel full-size bikes I've seen for a while.
So it's called the Beady Little Eye, and it's a single speed full sus bike. So
Oh, you don't see many of those. That is pretty niche, isn't it?
So in my sort of local trails in Bristol, it's tight and twisty. The hills are sort of sharp and steep. So
Yeah.
single speed is perfect. But to have a full sus bike with single speed, you need the chain. So if we look on this side, the chain needs to be concentric with the main pivot. So
Yeah.
as the suspension moves, your chain length doesn't change. A few other companies have done this, but they've put a normal bottom bracket shell. Oh, let's spin it over. So they use a normal bottom bracket shell with some massive bearings spinning around the bottom
Yeah.
bracket shell. What I've done is created so this is kind of a bespoke bottom bracket shell with a big set of bearings in it, and then you have a big set of bearings running in the main pivot.
Kind of looks like a BMX mid bottom bracket.
Yeah, I think it's a 44mm bit of steel, so
Yeah.
it just turns to the size of the bearings.
Yeah, man.
But then you need the BMX cranks, because the BMX cranks have got a big, strong axle running through it, so it's got a
Yeah.
steel axle, everything runs on that. And then, yeah.
Nice,
it moves. The other benefit is the bearings are always moving. So on sort of the other single pivots and on all bikes, bearings only move a tiny amount. And you always get a bit of notchiness. When you take your bearings apart, you can see that they've moved that little bit. Whereas this, the bearings are always spinning, so
That's a good point.
pivot bearings are always moving. And these bearings, you know, I had the first generation of this bike. I think I had one set of bearings for 2 years, and they were knackered. They
Yeah.
had like the dust caps had fallen off, but they were still spinning. They were still working. So
No way, that's awesome.
It just keeps it moving.
So where can we find you?
Website stylingcycles.com. I've got an Instagram account, and I've got a Facebook page, and then my workshop's in Bristol. If anybody wants to come and see me there and say hello, and
Brilliant.
yeah.
Cool. All right, everyone, I found someone here I definitely wanted to get in the vlog, and we're actually going to do something later which would be quite interesting. I was going to say you may not recognize him, but it's had a few people come up and recognize him already, but you should definitely recognize his voice. We've got Davey from the Hook It podcast.
So how's it going?
Yeah, not so bad. Oh, that silky smooth northern radio voice there.
Yeah, face for radio, all that stuff. Yeah, man.
So yeah, Hook It podcast. I've been listening. You guys, well, I say you guys, you were a massive help for my drive up here. 7 hours.
Thank you.
Listening to your podcast on the way up, so brilliant.
Appreciate it.
So the Hook It podcast, if you haven't been listening, go check him out. He's been getting some big names on there, and he's going to get me on there, so I don't know how that ended
And
up.
some little names.
And some little names, so we're going to do an episode, so that's going to be awesome. And do you know when it's going to come out? I don't know which
It'll
one.
be out on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, so this is actually after.
Yeah.
So by the time you listen to this, I'll put
It'll
I'll put a link below if I can. It'll go listen to it. It should be awesome. I'm going to do it in a motorhome as well, which is going to be fantastic. Right, I've swapped to the GoPro because I need a waterproof camera. Because if you can see behind me here, we have got a floating skinny, 50 centimeters wide. It goes all the way around the lake and appears back around there somewhere. So I'm going to give this a try and try not fall in. But you know, prepare for the worst. Got my wet weather clothes on. Should be fun. Off you go. Alright, how's best to even get on this thing? Here we go. Oh, it's quite slippery. There we go. Well, I survived the water. I would have liked to have had more runs. Actually, who am I kidding? I was happy with just the one getting around it without falling in. Apparently, to all of the people who made it around, they then had a timed one, so whoever could do it the fastest without falling off won £400 worth of TRP brakes or something like that. But I couldn't take part in that because I had to come back and do the podcast with Davey for the Hook It podcast, which actually was so cool. Because we chatted for so long, it ended up being quite late, so today is a new day. This is Sunday, the last day of the event. I am going to go and have another walk around. There's still some people I haven't spoken to, or brands, or interesting things on display that I haven't seen. So I'm going to have a look around to see what I can find. Alright guys, we've kind of got a rival company here, but A lot of you have been talking and recommended that I try Schwalbe. How do you say it? Schwalbe? Schwalbe. I've been saying it wrong all my life. The Procore system. A lot of you guys have mentioned it, and yeah, here we are. So, might be tempted, you know.
So dual chamber system, something that's not just going to help with pinch punches, but it's also going to stop the tyre from burping, allowing you to run much lower pressures, saving some nice carbon rims you might be running as well. Good system. So what you've got is an inner tyre, which we've got over here. Very, very lightweight. Total system's just about 200 grams. You've got an inner tube with a two-way valve and a little red air guide to allow the air to transfer into your outer chamber, so you can still run sealant. So for small thorns and things like that, you've still got your puncture protection level. Pretty bomb-proof kit, super light, 200 grams. 150 pounds a set sounds expensive, but most people only run it in the rear, so you can go halves on a mate.
Top tips.
There we go.
Alright guys, so a lot of you have seen that I've got a Cushcore in the back of my bike, and a lot of you have been saying I should try the Schwalbe, however you say it, I always get it wrong, Procore. But I'm not sure if you've seen, we've got a brand here, Mr. Wolf, and they've just brought out a couple of items. I've seen this one online, which is literally pretty much just a solid insert with a small inner tube, which looks great, but it's a little bit on the heavy side. But over here, they've got a lightweight version, and we've got the brains behind the designs here. What's your name again? Sorry, I'm so bad with names.
Tiziano from
Tiziano. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, this looks really cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell me about it.
We have two products, two anti-flat system. The first is Banger. That is one, fundamentally is a tire insert for tubeless tire.
Yeah.
That means that you maintain your normal tubeless configuration and also add the tire sealant as well. This product have three main key. The first is that eliminate the snake bite, so can reduce the flat tire up to 80-90%. That works a lot.
Sounds like a dream.
The second is that protect the rim, but for me the most important thing is that really change the feeling on your bike, because this polymer absorbs every obstacle, every vibration, and also reduce the volume of the air. It's like when you put the token into your fork, okay? You have the same PSI value, but your fork feel more and more progressive. Here is the same, you reduce the volume of the tire up to 90-95%. That means that yes, you still add the air, but the air inside is very, very progressive. You have the first part that is very soft, and more you push on the bike and more you can feel the sustain of the system. In fact, you have also the polymer that absorb the obstacle, absorb the vibration, but also give you more sustain in the corner, for example.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, yeah.
So for sure, you will read on your display the same value of PSI, but something has changed.
And how much does this weigh?
The weight is from 190 grams for the cross-country small version to 300 grams for the plus size.
Cool, man.
We have in 26, 27 half and 29, and 4 sizes, small, medium, mid plus and plus. So every type of tire for mountain bike.
And how much do they retail for?
The retail is 67 pounds.
Really? That's cheap, man.
And after we have Smart Mousse, that is a completely different product. It came from the motorcycle industry. We are the producer for a very well-known brand worldwide for the motorcycle mousse. But we changed the design. That means that in motorcycle you have this rounded mousse. We designed this particular C-shaped design to just this little inner tube that have two main functions. The first is that it can adapt to every kind of rim, and the second is that it's free to expand, so you can adjust the hardness of the tire and find the perfect feeling. Also here, for sure, you will read a value of fire, but it's something completely different, because you have the rubber that is stay near the ground and really change the rebound of the tire, really change the feeling and the grip. This is the dimension of the mold. Okay. Yeah. So this is made with another rubber. When we open the mold, the dimension becomes more or less like this. But after we put in an even, okay, for 15 minutes and the product became like this.
No way.
And only after 45 days the product is ready to fit.
Really?
Yeah, we need this because we need that to increase the durability and to stabilize the chemical reaction inside the polymer. The weight is 500 grams, that is more, is too much or not, I don't know, for me not, but we designed this in particular for e-bike and very huge gravity guys. That means that 500 grams is the difference between an enduro tire, for example, and a down encasing tire. The idea for sure is an anti-flat system, but believe me, if you try it after 100 meters of rocks, you can understand immediately that it's something more, something really different. With this product you can completely draw new line. That means you can go straight and choose your line and go. Without thinking about flat tire, without thinking the rim, without thinking anything.
That's cool. Cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Right guys, just found Kingdom Bikes. They make some pretty nice titanium bikes. Actually pretty cheap, 900 quid for a frame. It's pretty nuts. One thing, I'm gonna just buzz over the bikes a little bit. They are really awesome, but I've seen something else here that I definitely would be wanting in Scotland. Check out these, the dirt suits. These are mountain bike onesies, which in Scotland, in winter, believe me, this thing would be incredible.
Most people haven't seen it before. It's called a dirt suit. It's by a company called Dirtleg, German company. It's basically a mountain bike onesie. Now, they do a range of suits. They do a more trail one, so they do the Dirt Suit Classic. It's 10,000 waterproof, 10,000 breathable. Chest vents, leg vents, pit vents. There's one on the back. You're not going to overheat. The logic is you go riding, no excuses. And then you jet wash your bike off, you jet wash yourself off. Unzip, you're good to go. They do a full downhill one. This is the new one. Only launched last week. SFD edition. It's much thicker, much more gravity orientated. You can zip the legs off, you can zip the arms off.
Take it pads fit on underneath.
Yeah, so it's got the slightly looser cut for proper body armor, knee pads, you know, full suit if you want. Take it to Morzine when it's muddy and horrible. Just makes a lot of sense, I reckon. So something like that, it's 300, 299. It's the top suit. It's a proper bit of kit. They do the more trail orientated one, 175, and then they do a pro edition which splits the difference. So it's a 15,000 waterproof, slightly thicker, you know, a nicer membrane, different color scheme, 225.
Awesome.
I think they're great.
When I was in Fort William, I met Davey from Hook It. He was with the Saks stand. These guys make some pretty awesome underwear, boxers, thermals and stuff.
Best underwear in the world.
Every time I put them on, I feel, have you ever seen The Simpsons when Ned Flanders wears that one-piece ski suit and he says it feels like I'm wearing nothing at all?
Yeah.
Well, it allows for maximum mobility. Feels like I'm wearing nothing at all.
So there's like 3 unique things to Saks underwear that it kind of separates us from everyone else in the underwear market. So first up is the ball part pouch. These 2 mesh panels that separate your balls from your legs and make it the most comfortable fitting underwear ever. So no more like, just like no more balls sticking to your legs, no more bat wing, like it just separates all day long and you just feel super comfortable with them. Then we put all the seams on the outside, so to make it as smooth as possible inside. And then they're 3D fitted around a men's muscle group, so they fit and then stay in place and don't ride about. So
that's actually one of those things that's fairly obvious now that you mention it, isn't it?
So simple to do, but like like it makes such a difference to them. So then we basically make them in like sports compression fabrics like this, like the Kinetic, or like soft viscose, which is like everyday style, just to wear for like all day. So pretty much we can, depending on what like fit you like, what sort of like what you kind of how you like wearing them, we'll have a style that like suits you perfectly. So.
We've got the Muck Off Pump Track. Now in 13 days we've got the Pump Track World Champs in Glasgow. Perhaps I should get some sneaky practice on the go riding this thing. What do you reckon? Speaking of Muck Off, these guys, I've got the new like no puncture tubeless sealant kit. Now I've actually already got some of this in my bike at a minute, which you guys will see when I make my how to fit a cush core video very soon, so keep an eye out for that. So far so good with this stuff. And also check out this thing. Is that a paint job or what? I'm not sure where in the world you'd need pink camo, but it does look pretty damn good. don't want to be on camera?
No.
Last year, no, even the start of this year, on the Hook It podcast, Davey did a chat with the guys at Sick Bicycles. And here's a stand. This is called the Death from Above. When it's got the wheels on, it looks hella, well, to be fair, even without the wheels, you can tell that's got a long wheelbase. This is the longest bike I've ever seen and ever ridden in my life. This thing is next level. 29er, 180mm travel. What is the wheelbase?
A kilometre.
I had a ride on this yesterday and I was trying manuals on it, and I did eventually get a manual on it. It wasn't easy, but it was possible. The front wheel is about 10 foot up in the air, but it is the most bizarre feeling bike. Oh, here we go. Oh, this is pro. Here we go, guys. We can try and get the exposure right on that. So this has got a 1,415mm wheelbase, not centimeters. I actually made that mistake. Millimeter, which is insane. My trials bike is just over a meter, so yeah, this is almost an extra half of my trials bike on top. So absolutely insane. What's the head angle on it? 62-degree head angle. That is nuts. If you ever see these guys about, you need to have a feel of this bike because it is the most insane bike I've ever felt in my life. So guys, I just have to show this bike. This is the new Monrake Foxy XR, I think. It's 29er. I have to admit, this is one of the nicer looking bikes I think I've seen. I just love the straight line going on. It kind of looks like a hardtail, but obviously got suspension. I just love lines that just flow like that. That is really, really nice. Right, I've just turned up at the Bliss stand. They've got their body armour, gloves, and they've got a pretty cool demonstration on how their stuff works, which... Can I be the guinea pig on this?
Definitely. So this is Armagel. Bliss is a German company, but Armagel is actually British. It's designed as a soft armour, and the main difference is it's silicone based rather than foam based. So what that allows is, one, it's waterproof, which is great because it's always wet here.
Bonus, yeah.
But two, we can actually put a geometry in. So what it's called is S2. S2 is if you were to cut a knee pad in half, you'd see a continuous S and a 2 along. What that means is when you compress the armour, it actually folds in, locks in itself.
Okay.
So we can use less armour to get the same results as using a really thick piece, and just show that you can wear it. It's not going to be restrictive. And with a lot of the minimal stuff on Minimalist Plus, really it's there to just be almost like a second layer. It's almost like a skin.
Yeah.
Though everything is fully C certified, it does offer genuine protection, and you can repeatedly hammer it to death.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's the sleeve around it will go long before the actual armour does.
Speaking of hammering.
Yeah. So this is the armour. This is Armagel before it's been stabilised and injection moulded. You will still feel some of this. It takes up to 60 to 80% of the shock out.
Yeah.
Obviously there'll always be a residual energy, but it's preventing what could have been.
Sure.
So, and then it goes soft again. And we can do this all day long. And this is the same as the armour works, so you can't really see it react. But the idea is it's nice and flexible on the trail. As soon as you have an accident, whatever the angle it's in, it will harden up and then allow you to move your legs, so if you know, for that second impact or that movement. So what we've got here is it's 50% silicone and then 50% active ingredient. The main difference to that is most soft armors are foam based, and with the active ingredient most used between 3 to 5%. So there's a lot more in here. It means it's quicker to react, but also with that, ironically, or not ironic, but it's more stable. So even down to -20, it gives you the same protective qualities. It will stiffen up, but if you were to have an impact at that time, it would still offer the same protection as it would in these temperatures, and it would at +40. So.
Right, that is everyone kind of packing up now. That is unfortunately coming to the end of the Malvern Classics this year. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was really cool seeing all the retro bikes and all the new technology as well. It was really cool to go and put some faces to names and people that I've talked to online, and fingers crossed this event went really well and they'll put it on again next year. If you're in the UK and it's on again next year, I'd recommend coming along. I'm going to try and get here again. I'm going to actually try and enter more racing next time. Unfortunately, I missed the cut-off times. I couldn't do the downhill or anything like that, so I was just a spectator. I missed the downhills as well. I got talking to people and yeah, all the racing happened and I didn't get to see any of it, so that's a bit of a shame. Next year I'll change that, hopefully a POV of them, and yeah, if there's more bunny hop comps, stuff like that, I'll get involved in those as well. So you know the score, be fluent, get out on your bikes, and I'll catch you all next time. Take care everyone, bye bye.